Let's get down to some of the hard-nosed business of this day, because Melbourne have a huge game on their hands against Hawthorn at the MCG, and their coach, Simon Goodwin, joins us on 3AW Football. Jackie Reid is with him. Welcome, Jackie.
Thanks, guys. Now, Simon, there was plenty of emotion here at Marvel Stadium last night with the Collingwood match. But what about today? You guys have had a very emotional week ahead of the Breast Cancer Network game, the Pink Lady game. You had Amber Whalen speak to you this week. What has that done for the group?
Oh, look, it was great to have her in to share her story. You know, it's a terrific thing that, you know, the Breast Cancer Australia Network have done in providing support for breast cancer survivors and people that are going through a traumatic period for their families. And she shared her story. She's been a D's fan her whole life, and the heartache that she's gone through, and the ability just to keep fighting. And the message for the players was just that, for the position that we're in, just, you know, stick to what we can do and stick to the process and keep fighting.
Does it send a message to the players as well? A bit of a reality check too. This is a game, and we've got to get our heads out of it sometimes to sort of get the results back on the field. Yeah,
look, you do. You know, you're obviously drawing all life experiences, but, you know, we've got to get ourselves together and get ourselves going on field. You know, we've had a good 10 days since our last game, ability to sort of reset a little bit as a club and really start to get some really good training and some of the things that we need to work on.
Simon, can I ask you about Sam Wiedemann, particularly the coaching sort of management of his situation? I was interesting that obviously he was out, got left out, but Tim Smith has sort of laid out in a first game with Declan Keelty has come in, still no Sam Wiedemann. So what is your sort of coaching management sort of policy, I guess, this time with Sam, and how you're going about trying to get him back to his best?
Yeah, well, I guess Sam's you know, obviously a really, you know, highly valued player within our club, and I guess the process with Sam was he's probably at a stage where he just needs to go back and start marking the ball and get some confidence at a lower level.
Yeah.
You know, he's working really hard at training and it hasn't come to him, and more mentally, more than anything, just free him up a little bit and take the pressure away and the expectation away. He's a 26-game player, and get himself back into some really good form before we bring him back into the AFL team.
So, Jimmy Bartow here. Your natural default position as a side, because you've trained them up to play the game in the contest and be physical, is to send, they naturally go back to the ball. How do you weigh up the balance of still encouraging that, but being mindful of not being beaten on the outside, which has happened a little bit early in the season?
Yeah, look, it has, Jim. You know, we certainly are a team that obviously value the contested ball, but, you know, our decisions around the ball and our contest work has been off a little bit. You know, been quite fumbly around the ball, which has meant we've had to draw numbers more towards the ball. So we certainly need to work on our cleanliness around the contest and also our method when we're defending around the ball. And we've had some time to be able to do that. And, you know, that's really the cornerstone of our game. And we've really gone back to that in the last 2 weeks about how we actually get those decisions right, how we get our method around the ball right, both offensively and defensively.
So we heard the rather alarming story about Christian Petrarca and the medicine ball in a hypoxic session at the pool the other day. What actually happened, Simon, and is he all right now?
Yeah, look, he's fine. You know, he was up in about 10 minutes after it all went down. But, you know, hypoxics training is something that obviously a lot of AFL clubs do, a lot of, you know, athletes around the world. It's, you know, and it's a really supervised program. It's, you know, Christian really loves that type of training. He's quite competitive in it, but we need him to actually come up and actually take a breath when he needs to. So, yeah, look, it was alarming, but at the same time, you know, it's supervised, it's well controlled, and it's a form of training that, you know, a lot of players do in the AFL.
Who supervises it, Simon?
Our high performance staff. You know, that's we certainly won't let any player do a hypoxic session on their own. It's just it's one of those things that you just wouldn't allow.
Can he ever be a hard-running sort of midfielder, Petrarca? I mean, his body shape is like a small key position player. I mean, he's therefore stamina and running power. Do you think he can ever come? Obviously, this is one mechanism to try and achieve that.
Yeah, look, it's something we'll continue to work on, Lee. You know, he's, you know, fundamentally, I think he's going to end up being that sort of, you know, medium to key forward that, you know, can mark the ball and have a big impact in one-on-one contests. And, you know, he can have 5 or 6 minutes around the ball, no question. But, you know, we just don't know where he's going to get to physically in the next 3 to 4 years. You know, I probably never thought Dusty Martin would get to the position where he's playing such an important midfield role in his career. And, you know, that's 8 or 9 years in.
Well, Simon, it's a season that promised so much, and you find yourself 1-5, which I'd imagine is about your worst nightmare. I saw a quote attributed to you that the players have to rediscover the elite effort. Has that been lost somehow?
Yeah, look, I think it comes from a range of things. You know, and that's sort of what we've been able to go back to is what are the key things that are going to get us back to that level. And We had for a variety of different reasons what we weren't able to do through the summer, but we haven't held that as an excuse to our team. We want to be playing some really good footy, so we've gone back to training really hard. We've gone back to working hard on our game, working hard in the gym, and seeing how far that takes us. So we're not really interested now in what we can't do or haven't done. We're now interested in what we can do, and that's been a great opportunity in 10 days to reset that.
Simon, always a great thrill to give a player his first game. Declan Kilty, what do we expect to see out of him?
Yeah, it is a great thrill. His father Jim came in and spoke. He probably gave one of the best speeches I've heard for a first game player. And he's a tall key forward. He jumps at the ball at highest point, and he's one guy in our club at the moment that's bringing the ball to the front in marking contests. So yeah, we're excited to see what he can produce.
So from the youngest to the oldest, obviously Jordan Lewis is a proud man, and without going into the argy-bargy of the Cane Corns blue, do you put your arm around even someone like Jordan Lewis when they're taken apart, I guess, with a slight personal bent as well?
Oh, without question. He's what he's given the game and how he's handled himself, I think, has been a credit to him. He's going through a little difficult spell, and I think everyone goes through that. As you get towards the back end of your career, everyone's looking to when you can actually finish. He played 2 games in 4 days off a 4-week spell without doing much training. So we've got to allow him some time to get better and work his way into the season. But yeah, I put my arm around him and supported him and said that we're riding behind you, and let's just give it your best over the next few weeks.
Does he particularly enjoy Hawthorn games?
I think he looks forward to those games. Yeah, it's you can certainly see the edge in his demeanour. He was part of presenting the opposition this week, and he loves playing for Melbourne. But he had a great history with the Hawthorn Footy Club as well.
Big day, Simon. We wish you well, and thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks.